I'm not the chairman anymore. Turn it that way.
It's picking up the whole board.
The chief and I included, so you're not alone.
All right, so let's begin. It's 5:30 by my clock. This is the Tilton Northfield Fire District Commissioners meeting for April 23rd, 2024. We're at the Tilton Town Hall Lower Meeting Room. In attendance are the three commissioners, the chief and Kathy. There are no members of the public currently here. So I'm going to move right to agenda item number 3 and bring up the policies, which were emailed out prior to the meeting. As Paul, who's been doing this a lot longer than I, can attest, typically these policies were developed over the years, and each year the commissioners, I don't know if approve is the correct word, but approve them for the coming year. And in review, I had some thoughts, and I think Jason does as well, on a couple of them, or more than one or more of them. And so I wanted to bring them up in no particular order, and we can go through them. And then I want to actually chat about some changes. So, you want me to just go?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
I'll
so
bounce off you.
if we're on the purchasing policy, which is document 01, which I think is the top one in your stack.
Yeah.
They're all in order numerically.
I think this is one where some changes were made.
Yes, the chief
Suggested changes.
suggested changes.
So on
They're not in
page
color yet, though.
on page 2 of this document, bottom section, the very last one where it says purchases for vehicle repair and maintenance.
Yes.
The last document had 3,000, so the purchases that can be made directly by the department up to $3,000 without informing the commission. The commissioner shall be notified prior to repairs costing more than $3,000. The chief is suggesting that we raise that to $10,000. So I guess I'd like,
Sure. So when that portion has never been amended since it was initiated in 2000. This policy was initiated in 2005. And there are many times now where basic, even air conditioning repair on an ambulance can exceed $3,000 easily, depending upon what goes wrong with it. And it's not that we can't fix it. We have to fix it, so it has to get done. But delaying, trying to get the commissioner's approval for something that has to be done can be timely, and that delays the time for that vehicle to get fixed. I put $10,000 in there. I know that is probably a little high. I was thinking maybe then it wouldn't have to be amended for another 5 or 6 years, but I think as I went through a bunch of the bills that we've had over the past few years, I think if we amended that number to 6,000 would be appropriate, and anything over that, I would have to call the commissioners to get approval, because everything that costs more now than it did in 2005. Vehicles, just the parts are way more expensive than what they used to be, and so to try and keep things running in a timely fashion and not have vehicles waiting to get repairs, I think amending it to 6,000 is more appropriate as I look at the last 3 years worth of billings for things.
the other concern I had is that nowhere in there does it specifically state that those repairs need to be brought forth to the next commissioners meeting. And I know they currently are. The chief would have that in his chief's report, but it seems like in the document it should say, you know, I don't need to know, we don't need to know, in my opinion, every time we have to bind a stapler, but at some point, if we're doing repairs to equipment, we should know that we've done the repairs. whether it's above or below the, whatever the
Yeah,
threshold dollar
it
amount
should be
is.
something that brought it the next,
Yeah,
next
some sort of,
immediate opportunity.
Yeah.
Or, I think we should be, have a report out within 5 working days from the repair, or 10 working days from the repair, regardless of when the next meeting is. And I don't like the number, by the way. I'd like to think that our fleet's in better shape than it's been, when we had the old engines and things were really breaking and frame and all that stuff on the old engines. I think, you probably needed that 10, it's a big stuff going on. And
but what would be the, if, say we had our meeting, and we're doing once a month meetings, that our meeting was today,
yeah,
and tomorrow
something breaks.
something breaks and it's over whatever or it's just under the dollar amount here.
Yeah.
So the chief would have it repaired. If it was just over the dollar amount, does he now have to wait until our next commissioners meeting?
I mean, he could send an email and
I'd
just,
like to think we're all pretty accessible.
Yeah, what I've done in
But
the
is that
past.
appropriate?
yeah. The only thing I see is by there again, $10,000. It does not give him, well, hopefully he goes out, if the motor went, you don't just go to Irwin's to get it fixed, you get a couple bids on it, or something like that there. The other thing too is, when it says repairs, as long as it is repairs and not something that's, like a cap for a truck.
Oh, no, I've never done anything.
I'm not saying you to
Yeah.
purchase something that's not a repair.
Yeah, I've never done anything.
I'm not saying you did, I want to make it very clear, it's repairs.
Yeah.
And when it has been over that number, I have generally, instead of sending an email, I try calling these all first, depending upon how serious the issue is.
Well, like that ambulance equipment, you jumped on that pretty quick.
Yeah.
You had a looming deadline and a discount and stuff, and I think I'm fine with.
Well, and
I would want to react to those things in the moment.
And the verbiage here is shall notify. It's not looking for approval. It's, the verbiage just said, you'll notify us.
Right.
Well, okay, but you notifying us for approval?
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
are you notifying us?
Guess here's what I did.
So I think it lacks strength in the verbiage.
Yeah.
Well, I think when I do phone call you, the commissioners on that, I am looking for your approval. It's not like,
And I'm not saying that
Yeah.
you're not. I
Yeah.
just, what is the appropriate dollar amount? And then, the commissioner should be notified that a dollar amount has been required to be spent, and that if it's over this dollar amount, he's looking for approval. And I'm not sure how that verbiage, I don't want to make this cumbersome, but that's my thought process.
Right. In the, it's almost like there should be a fork in the road if we talk about lowering the number, fine. But if it goes, from over 5 to 10 or whatever, then this three bids are not required. I'd like to see us.
some things, say like, I'll use the air conditioner on the ambulance last year. It's broken, it's gotta go to Greenwood.
It's limited.
They tear the truck apart
Yeah.
and they say, this is what happened. All the lines are full of metal filings and this and stuff like that. It's like, okay, they tore it apart, they're gonna charge us for tearing it apart.
Yeah.
And I say, okay, put it all back together because I gotta get 3 bids.
Right.
That doesn't make any sense.
No. That's one where we would waive, waive the process, or
I guess the verbiage there says not required. It doesn't say that you can't do it.
Yeah.
If in that instance, it would make sense to.
Like, I know when we did the semi-refurbishment of Engine 1, we put that up to bid because
sure.
that was a planned
Yeah.
process. Usually when something breaks, it's not planned.
Right.
And that's where, trying to get bids for, like if the vehicle's in an accident, okay, we can get bids on that. That's gonna be mostly an insurance thing anyway, so.
Right. They're gonna.
So how do we feel about,
I mean, I'd like to set the amount maybe around 5,000. And I'm not saying if it goes over 6,000, he shouldn't get it fixed. But it would be
Right.
nice to be notified, hey, we had a little problem, I got it fixed, it's $6,000. That's fine.
Yeah.
You had to get it fixed, so, but I mean, the dollar amount, I mean, 5,000, it'd be nice to be notified, that's all I'm saying.
I agree, I want to keep you guys notified, I don't.
Yeah, I think three's stale and it's clearly outdated, but, I mean, if we're gonna sign these things every year, then we don't need to jump big, you know. Right? It's customary, you know.
right,
So next year, there could be 3 different names there, if you don't get in again or whatever. It's, if we sign these every year, we don't need to do like a 5-year plan on the number.
right. All right, then, I should make a motion?
Sure.
All right, I make a motion that in this section under purchases for vehicle repair and maintenance, that we increase the dollar amounts to 5,000, and that in the second sentence, the verbiage be added to state, the commissioners shall be notified prior to the repairs for,
Why would you, why wouldn't you just, after the...
after the 5,000 for
Yeah,
approval.
yeah.
I want to put for approval in there. So maybe the commissioners shall be notified prior to the repairs costing more than $5,000 for approval. I suppose notified isn't the
Shall
right
be
word.
contacted for approval.
The commissioners shall be contacted prior to repairs costing more than $5,000 for approval.
Okay.
Do you have a second?
I have a second now.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, on the next page, purchases of $1,000 and up. So here, phone quotes may be accepted up to $5,000. Only written quotes will be accepted for purchases exceeding $5,000. And Chief is proposing upgrading that to 10. Phone quotes may be accepted. I don't like the wording of this sentence. Only written quotes will be accepted. But anyway, again, same discussion.
Well, written, it could be emailed. I mean, it's not gonna be.
Right.
I assume emailed is written because
Yeah, 'cause
I
it's
can
written.
print it.
Yeah, yeah. And it'll have terms on there, good for 30 or 60 days.
Okay,
or
so
whatever.
again, here, where's it, you're just thinking that, your thought process being that, trying to get written quotes for things under $10,000 is sometimes,
Yeah,
asking too much in order to get quotes?
yeah.
So where have you run into some speed bumps with this, Chief?
Oh, the last time, when we paved, say, the parking lot at Park Street, trying to get 3, and there's plenty of pavers around here.
Right.
Trying to get 3 to give me written quotes took a month and a half. Come on.
Right.
Not a big enough job that they want to?
At the time, maybe not, I don't know. I mean, it was before COVID, so that was like normal times, this
Yeah.
is post-COVID. When I called, like, we'll discuss later, the back parking lot area, even the most responsive person that Porter Paving, they're the most responsive, they get back to me as sooner. Now there's still 2 weeks.
Right.
And I guess it's just a small job to them, and it's not worth it. The bigger fish to fry.
I guess I don't have a problem here because we're not actually authorizing him to purchase anything. It's just getting a quote.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah. You know, and the worst part is, you know, they didn't want to quote you because it's too small of a job. That's, you know, to me, I mean, we're in business. I work for a store that's in business, I'm a part owner.
Yeah.
If we don't take them small jobs, there's going to be a big job come along and say, hey, you didn't want the small one,
Yeah, right.
you ain't going to get the big one.
Yeah.
And that's what happens. I mean, I have no problem, this here, you have 10,000, get quotes on it, 3 quotes.
I can live with that, only because we're not gonna enter into an agreement with them anyway,
Right.
whether it's verbal or,
So you want to leave the amounts the same, the purchases 1 cent to 1,000 and 1,000 enough?
I think I'm happy with all the verbiage there.
Okay.
Yeah, because all our regular purchases are discussed during the budget process. There are really no surprises. These are
Right.
things that are outside the budget process, really.
Okay, so on that one, we will,
It'll come back.
at the
The
next
next
meeting,
meeting.
we'll have that for
Yes.
signatures, okay. Any other questions on that one?
I'm all set.
All right, I don't have any questions on credit card policy. I do on the labor grade and step system.
So I shall bring the credit card one back for approval at the next
Oh.
meeting?
Do you want us to
Or
approve
you
it
can
now?
sign it tonight. You just need to sign one and give it to me.
I make a motion we reapprove the credit card policy 1002
Okay.
as presented.
I'll second that. All any discussion?
No, I'm all set.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, I'm signing a copy and passing it down.
That's the old one, because you got it.
Oh,
So
Oh.
I'll give, I was like, hey, you're in my
Oh,
spot,
that's
we're
my old
alphabetical.
that's
Yeah,
my-
give it this.
Sorry.
No, my fault. I've got my pile of old ones and my pile of new ones. Thank you. All right, so on the credit card, labor guide and step system.
Thank you.
My concern is with the very last page, the last item, where it says, upon approval of the Board of Fire Commissioners through the annual budget process, full and part-time employees shall receive pay adjustments on January 1st of each year. And the reason for my concern is,
Do you want that to say retroactive to January 1st?
if the budget had not passed at this, so the, correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding is after the budget committee agreed to the wage dollar total amount, and then the commissioners met, the chief then on January 1st issued the pay increase to all the employees, starting January 1st. And then at the district meeting, my concern would be if the budget didn't get voted, or the taxpayers voted $500,000 out of the budget, we would be coming back here and going, all right, where are we taking that money from?
I agree.
And potentially, we'd be taking it out of salaries.
I've had a couple of people ask me that, why?
This
So-
January thing is crazy.
So my thought was, either the new pay scale starts
July 1st.
or
To June
after
30th?
the meeting, or it's retroactive to January 1st, but it doesn't take effect until the meeting. So I wanted to discuss that. I'm not sure the best way to go there.
Well, it really should be at the meeting after it's approved there, because if it don't, like you said, if it don't get approved, we're in trouble.
Right. I mean, how do most places, how does the state do it?
So-
How does anybody do it? I don't know.
Well,
In-
the
in-
fiscal runs July 1 to June 30th, and
So-
so does the town.
And so does the school. So if they approve it at the town meeting, it goes into effect July 1st.
And we tried years ago to change hours to a fiscal calendar,
Yeah.
but it was voted down.
And I'm okay with that. I don't know that it needs to change the fiscal calendar, but I don't think it's appropriate that we start giving people pay raises when the budget hasn't been approved. It's kind of like it's just inappropriate to, you know, we're gonna buy a new pickup truck, let's buy it in January and then ask for the taxpayers'
when I
approval
first-
to buy
When I
it.
first
But
started
that has a
here-
back-out clause, somebody's paycheck, it's a little different.
Right.
When I first started working here, it was retroactive to January 1st, after the district meeting. After the meeting,
Yeah,
then the raises were given retroactive to January 1, when I started working here.
right, that would make some sense.
And I didn't come to the meeting with an opinion whether it should be retroactive, whether it should start after the May meeting, whether it should start July 1st. I just don't think it should start January 1st.
Right, and that's what this discussion is about.
Yeah.
So I'm willing to continue the discussion or go with somebody give me an argument as to how we should do this. I think no one has a strong feeling about one way or the other. I would do retroactive after approval at the district meeting.
I think that's fair.
Retroactive to where though? January 1st?
January 1st.
That's easier than moving the year around.
And that's
Yeah.
fair.
You're thinking, Paul?
I don't know. I just, that ain't the way I would do it, but there we
How
go.
would you do it?
I would do it after the meeting, that's when it's retroactive, because the people voted to give them the raise.
So the
April 1st,
Yeah,
you know, something, because the meeting is never really
yeah.
on the same day.
That's the way I would
It's
do it.
always on the first Monday after the second Tuesday.
That's right. It's always-
how is the district's pay calendar work? Is it every 2 weeks? Is it
It's weekly,
they get paid weekly?
weekly.
Oh,
Seven o'clock Monday morning to 7 o'clock the following Monday morning.
But then, how about? Yeah, because if we incorporate any steps or cost of living or whatever, that's all got to be approved at the meeting.
Well, it's really the budget that's approved, it's, because it's a bottom line thing. But we give the sheet of what the line items were.
No, but if somebody took the time at the meeting to calculate out what the increase was in all those lines, come up with a total, and then reduce the budget by that amount with the conversation being directed directly towards wages, then it would be incumbent upon the commissioners to
Yeah.
take that money out of wages.
yeah, pretty much. I know everybody, you know, they want to wave the flag of, oh, bottom line budget, but, you know, we're kind of got to represent the spirit of what's being asked
Right.
for. And that's where we get into this issue with the voting body at the meeting is, well, we wanted this, but you did that, and I kind of want to see us converge into,
So would you be amenable to like April 1st?
I would.
Or the first pay period after April 1st?
I would.
Or, I'm not sure what the correct verbiage should be.
so the fiscal year, why did that get voted down?
The-
Or who voted it down?
The district, the
District.
members of the district
Oh,
voted it down. We
okay.
brought it to the floor,
Yeah.
and they said no.
Everything was gonna remain the same,
Yeah.
you know, the meetings, times, the elections, everything, but the fiscal year would start July 1st.
Yeah.
Because literally now, the
You
way we
are-
do, we're spending money that we don't even know we're gonna get.
Right, like 3 months into the budget.
Yeah, and that's, you know, nearly a quarter of the way through the budget, and then, okay, let's vote on the budget now. I mean, I don't run my house that way, I wouldn't run a business that way, but,
Well, and I guess as a commissioner and taxpayer, I would hope that you were spending those first 3 months at the same rate you were spending the prior
Or-
year.
Very
Right.
conservatively.
Yes.
All right, I guess I would change the verbiage, I guess I'll make this as a motion.
Yeah.
I guess I would change the verbiage there that upon approval of the vote at the district meeting, full and part-time employees shall receive pay adjustments effective the first pay period after April 1st.
Upon approval of the vote of,
The district meeting, upon approval of the budget,
budget at district meeting,
Yeah.
at the annual district meeting,
full and part-time employees shall receive pay adjustments effective the first pay period after April 1st, or
What makes that sticky is
yeah.
what happens to the following year.
That
Then
is
you're encumbering
sticky.
funds for
So you, yeah.
the following January, February, March on a budget that only takes you through December.
Right,
well, I don't know that you're encumbering any funds, you're just, when you're figuring out your budget and your increase, your budget
You're-
increase
you're-
is only gonna be, you're gonna,
You
you calculate
get
your.
into that same, you're getting with the same feedback loop though, because the budget year is January to December. You vote on it in March, and then you give them their increase in April, and then and is that April to the following April?
No, it's just,
It's really only a 9-month increase.
yeah,
right,
so
right, correct. But that's your pay rate that you're gonna move forward until it changes. So say the next district meeting, you don't vote any pay increases, that's just the rate of pay that's gonna continue.
Okay.
So right, when you're figuring the budget and you're doing an increase, right, you only have to calculate the increase for the 9 months. Right, because 3 months are gonna be at whatever the
The
current.
previous one was.
How do,
Oh, what
okay,
a
so
nightmare.
when we go to plan the following year's budget, I think I'm trying to calculate where are we gonna be and how much I should be calculating for that fiscal year. I'm gonna have 3 months at this rate and
9 months.
9 months at this rate. I think it'd be easier if we did a retroactive rather than effective. And if the budget isn't passed, then at the next commissioners meeting, we decide how we're gonna adjust the budget to meet what was passed, rather than trying to figure out how am I gonna, I mean, it's not saying it's impossible, I'm just saying I'm trying to.
It's not as neat.
it's
definitely
not
as
gonna be
neat.
easy for me.
We're not necessarily doing what's easy.
I
for you.
know, it's gonna be a nightmare.
We're trying to be,
I understand that.
you know, as Paul says, people ask about this. All right, so should we make it retroactive? I'm looking for help here.
I told you what I thought. I know it's not the best way to do it, but it's the right way.
Well, and even the language, upon approval of Board of Fire Commissioners, but the important thing is, through the annual budget process, the annual budget process includes approval by the voting body.
Right,
That's
It does.
contained within there, so,
so upon approval of the vote of the budget at annual district meeting,
All right, so I'm happy to work on the wording now.
I mean, I like the April thing, and then, to your point, that's their rate. That's, on January 1st of the following year, that rate was approved at the previous year's meeting.
Right, and that just continues
Yeah,
until it
that's their
changes
rate,
again.
yeah, and then that's the rate you gotta spend it at. Not that you're not encumbering funds, you've made an adjustment in what that pay rate is.
so instead of saying, why don't you say like the week of April 1st? That way the week isn't being split.
Right, if it falls on a Sunday or something.
If it falls on a Sunday,
Yeah.
it starts on Monday. If it falls on a Wednesday, it starts on the Monday.
Right,
So the week isn't split with two different pay rates.
Because if you look at it the right way, they get a raise in less than a year. Am I correct? If it's in April, they get, and it's retroactive, that means January.
Yeah.
So they go to next year, April, and it's, again, you give them a raise again, and it goes back to January again. So it's only 9 months in between them.
No, it's
No.
Of course it is.
No, it's not.
You gotta,
it's still a year.
you gotta hit that bump in the road April, and then it goes April to April to April to April. and
You
that's
have
how
to
get
do it that way,
You
yeah.
gotta- I think you take the hit once, and where it was a big pay raise year.
Well, it's a good time to do it this year, because, very likely next year there'll be a much less, if any, if any, or little.
The last known conversation with the budget committee was they didn't want to deal with an increase next year because they'd be looking towards, building numbers and everything else. So I think the next
Alright, so-
full pay period, even after the district meeting, or I think April's fine, Paul. I mean, that gives time for the numbers
So
to settle.
can we tweak the wording here again a little bit?
Of course.
So upon approval of the Board of Commissioners, through the annual budget process, and voted on at the annual district meeting, so we get the budget
Yeah.
committee to get everybody
It's
included.
stretched out a little bit.
Full and part-time employees shall receive pay adjustments
On the next full pay period in April,
on the next or the,
on the next full pay period in the month of April.
okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The first full pay period.
Full, complete.
Maybe that
The
would be.
first full.
The first full pay period.
That's what I-
Because the
yeah.
next one is like,
Yeah, not split it, but
Yeah.
just whenever the,
And when
when
you
you're
when you
fully
get
in it, it could
ready
be the
to
second or the
can you read
third.
that back?
Yeah.
Okay, so upon approval of the Board of Commissioners through the annual budget process and voted upon at the annual district meeting, comma, full and part-time employees shall receive pay adjustments.
Shall receive any approved pay adjustments.
Yes.
In
Pay adjustments effective the first full week in April?
pay period.
First full pay
First.
period.
First full pay period.
Does that sound good? I think that sounds good. Paul, does that
Yeah,
sound
I'm
okay?
okay with that.
Right, upon approval of the Board of Commissioners through the annual budget process and voted upon at the annual district meeting, full and part-time employees shall receive any approved adjustments effective the first full pay period in April.
Do we want to put pay adjustments?
Right. Yeah, you lost the
You
word
left
pay.
I lost
Pay.
the just,
Lost the word pay.
oh, sorry, it's there, but I didn't,
Okay.
okay. Yeah, I'd written over it, you
Yep,
know, about
okay.
it.
Second.
Right. So
Whose motion is this?
that was my motion
All right.
with the revised verbiage,
All right, second.
seconded by Jason. Any further discussion?
No, I'm all set with that.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
Next meeting.
I just had a question on the paramedic intercept. How often does that happen?
it hasn't happened in years.
Do
Every
we-
blue moon.
But now, do we even charge each other? Because we have
No,
an agreement in the
if-
Lakes, it says right here, Lakes Region Mutual Fire.
We do not charge members of Lake Region Mutual Fire Aid. If somebody from outside of Lake Region Mutual Fire Aid asked us for a paramedic intercept, we would send them a bill.
Canterbury.
Oh, the way that's
Concord.
worded, okay.
Canterbury,
Yeah,
Concord, we had one from up north, they coming through town, and they need a RSI somebody. so-
Lancaster,
Yeah,
yeah.
Like something bad happens in the
Yeah.
ambulance
Yes.
and they need, okay. I don't have a problem with that document.
See, what happened years ago, we used to, Franklin had a lot of, well, they had paramedics over there. Every time we need one, we call them, they charge us. And, I mean, we paid dearly. Then when we started getting paramedics, that's when they
wiped
stopped
it
it.
out, yeah.
Yeah. But that's water over the dam, so.
All right, make a motion, we approve this 1004 as presented.
I'll second that. Any further
Like you did.
discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, record request fees. I think you just changed some verbiage in there. You took out compact disc.
I did.
We don't have the ability to make those anymore.
The costs are all the same, right?
Yes, we just took out the CD portion.
Okay. I don't have any problems with that.
All right, make a motion, we approve policy document 1005 as presented.
I'll second that motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Okay, unassigned fund balance. I didn't have any notes on that one. I don't think there were any changes on that one.
No, just names.
I'll make a motion, we approve the unassigned fund balance policy.
I'll second the motion. Any discussion?
Well, this is the one that, no matter how we strive, they can blow it up at the town meeting anyway.
Right,
So,
we try.
yeah.
We have a
Oh,
policy.
there is a policy.
There is a policy. We can tell them that.
Yeah.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Right, investment policy, I didn't have any questions on that.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, we don't have to sign that? Oh.
Yes, we do. There's lots of places you have
Oh,
to
way,
sign.
way at
Lots
the
of
end.
places.
Lots of places.
Boy.
There's 3 pages you have to sign.
Oh, yeah.
And then I will catch up with Tim Pearson to have him sign as the treasurer.
That was great when he got up at the meeting, goes, here to tell you, there is a treasurer's report.
I know.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, aren't those in the books? You
They
know,
are.
They're in
Yeah,
the
they're
books,
already in the
right?
books.
Yes.
And so I'm just like kind of letting that go, and then he gets up and says, hey, I wrote one. Guy's got the books at voting.
Next year, we need to do a commissioner's report.
Oh, yeah.
What if they don't accept it?
Well,
Right. Oh, well.
it
Take
is
or
what
leave
it is.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't even know why that's a warrant article.
to accept the reports,
Yeah,
it's always been a warrant
I
article.
know.
I don't
But is it
why.
reports and something else?
I don't remember. Let me look.
Probably take it out next year.
yeah, just don't even have it as a warrant article.
When was the last time this was revised?
This was revised last year. It has to be revised, reviewed every year.
But were there any changes made last year? No.
The investment policy?
Yes.
I'll make a motion, we accept the investment policy document number 10-08.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All right, hearing no further discussion, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Right, I'll start signing this stuff.
Great. Thank you.
Today's the 23rd.
It says to accept the reports of the treasurer and the fire commissioners and pass any vote relating thereto on that.
I wonder if that's a legal required
I don't know.
to allow.
But, yeah, and if you don't pass it, then what? That was the great question.
It didn't pass, it was just
So,
out there.
yeah.
Yeah, I can flip backwards, I guess.
Yeah, don't accept it. It's still there.
It still exists.
Yeah.
Should they tear the page out of the annual report?
I think that was just, a thing at the meeting. I should have put sign here things on there,
The flags.
the flags,
We're good enough. Thank you for telling Sword 3, though.
yes. And I'll catch up with Tim Pearson when he returns.
Is he out?
Yeah, the rest of the week.
School vacation?
Yes, it is. A lot of people are not working for school vacation.
And I came back.
The bus terminal in Concord has a lot of cars parked.
Yes, yes.
Oh, yes.
All on the way to Logan or someplace. I took the bus to New York out of there. It wasn't bad.
I've taken the bus down to Logan a few times.
Yeah, I did too. It's a place in Woburn where you can drive down and then take the bus from Woburn to Logan. I did that a couple times too. Ended up being more convenient for me because on my way down, I dropped my dog off at my dad's house. And then drive to Woburn.
Just 2 of them,
No, there's 3.
unless I go through.
All right,
Yeah,
let me
what's
see.
that?
Thank you.
Big thing.
Let's go.
You
Well,
did
the
it.
problem with this one,
What, the accounts, ambulance receivable?
and the
Revenue?
I went to Paul's writing because this one, I think we have an issue, right? I think the chief's gonna confirm.
Bless you. Bless you.
So on the ambulance revenue receivable policies, if you go down to where it says on the first page, procedure, the following procedure will occur on a monthly basis. One of them, the third bullet item says write off resident ambulance bill not paid by insurance.
We have to remove
We need to remove that.
Doesn't mean you can't do it, but it can't be.
The
written.
policy
The law.
has to be, the law
Yeah.
has to be, the policy has to be the same for everybody.
That is correct, so we have to remove
So
that
we
line.
we can't have a policy that contradicts that and treats the residents differently. That doesn't mean that the commissioners can't write off any.
You can write off anything that you wish.
Right.
And there are times that you do write off other people other than residents.
Right.
Let me ask you a question now. 90-year-old guy, you take him to the hospital, he gets a bill in the mail. He don't realize that, when he don't have to pay it because he's a resident. So he starts making payments. You think that's fair?
90-year-old guy getting a bill because he's on Medicare.
Right.
And Medicare, you can't bill for the.
You can't
balance
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 Okay.
bill. But I hear what you're saying. So would it be now an obligation of the commissioners and the office to then notify it? Would you know if somebody?
No.
They don't get a bill.
No, but if would Comstar bill them?
Comstar bills everybody
Yeah.
looking for insurance information. If they don't have the insurance information, a lot of times I'm not able to get it, or they say that they're self-pay. They will send them a bill.
And the bill, the information on the bill is asking them send us your insurance information so
Yes.
we can bill your insurance company. Or if you don't have insurance at all, pay us the money.
Right.
So would we?
I ran across this several years ago. I was out measuring a job here in Tilton, and the lady used the amounts, and she got a bill in the mail. She ended up paying for it.
Would we know that? Or
No.
would ComStar just accept the money?
They would
and-
accept the money because they're willing to pay the bill.
So even if you had a policy or not, how would we know not to accept their money?
We won't know.
Because ComStar's gonna bill them anyway.
That's the
And
other
they
thing.
have to do
They
that.
have to send everybody in.
Everybody has to get a bill.
Right.
It's everybody or nobody.
So we don't know in the statements we received that the payment was from the insurance company or whether the payment was from
Correct.
the resident.
Right.
Or the person says, you know what, I live in Massachusetts 12 months a year, I got a summer home on the lake, and I feel obligated to pay this because it's not my residence.
Well,
I'm
that's
a property
right.
owner. and a
This
taxpayer.
was a full-time resident.
Yeah, no, I get, but there's gonna be scenarios,
Yeah.
where people are gonna say, you know what, I was up here on vacation, I feel obligated to pay.
Because I think it's supposed to be a primary residence.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Well, and, if we saw it on the report, we would obviously have the ability to do whatever we want to do, but I'm
Right.
just thinking about how do you catch that? How do you prevent that from happening?
We catch it on the disposition reports. That's the only way we catch it.
But we wouldn't catch whether the payment was made by the
Right,
insurance
we
company or
don't.
made by them.
And we have no way of knowing.
And if, all right, give another scenario. So we send the bill to the customer asking for their insurance information.
Mhm.
They provide it, and the insurance company pays.
Right.
Are they gonna get another bill for the difference automatically from ComStar?
It depends upon what the insurance company pays.
Right.
If the insurance company pays the whole bill, no, that's the end of it. If they only pay a portion of the bill, then they will get a balance bill. And the balance bill may be because they owe a copay or a deductible, which is part of your contract with your insurance provider.
Mm.
Or it may be the insurance provider says, yeah, we don't think it should have cost that $2,000, so we're only gonna give you $500, which happens.
Right.
So
Which is
there's
what
no,
I'm trying to fight now
Yeah.
with the legislature.
so, I'll go back to my scenario. The insurance company paid the $500 of the $2,000 bill.
Right.
The customer's gonna then receive a
balance
statement showing that,
Yes.
and they may go out of it, they may do what you said and pay the bill.
They may,
They may.
And
They-
we won't know.
but what they really should do is call the insurance company and say, hey, my insurance policy provides for emergency ambulance transport, and you only paid a portion of it. If you argue enough, and this is the case, they will pay the bill. They're just trying to
Cut corners.
cut
and-
corners.
I understand, but all I'm saying, you get somebody that doesn't know this or doesn't know all that stuff,
And
and they end
they're,
up paying it.
yeah,
I feel bad because they're paying for it, actually paying for it twice.
yes.
They're paying for the service through their taxes, and now they're gonna pay for that service.
Well, it's kind of like the taxes pay for us to be there 24/7 and pays for the equipment. The bill is for the actual service rendered.
I don't agree with that. I agree you're paying for a service. We're paying to have you guys take care of this town.
Then we should raise the tax rates and not bill anybody and fully pay for the service then.
We can't pick and choose.
Huh?
We can't pick and choose
Well, no,
because
you're paying
we'll
them.
get sued.
No, I'm not saying you should, but all I'm saying is, a lot of people don't understand. If you live in the community, you don't have to pay for the service. I don't know.
Is that like a known thing in every town or every city? Is that?
No, it's not that way everywhere.
So I was talking to the Peterborough chief today at this hearing. Not only do they send a balanced bill, they'll take you to small claims court.
Well, the next bullet here says resident will be sent to collections.
Residents can be sent to collections. And
And what it
that's
says is for the
usually,
insurance funds payment of the ambulance bill to the resident,
Yeah.
and they do not pay their ambulance bill. you know?
Yeah.
So what happens, this is specifically, mostly with Anthem, you have Anthem, and, because the fire district is not in network with Anthem, so Anthem says, well, we're not gonna pay the fire department, we're gonna pay the patient.
Oh,
And they'll pay the full $2,000 bill.
right.
They send it to the patient. Patient then is supposed to send us the bill. Technically, by law, on the check that the patient receives, it's supposed to say, patient John Smith and Tilton Northfield Fire
Yeah.
District. But Anthem complained to the commissioner of insurance, and theoretically, there's paperwork on this that I can't get my hands on, got a waiver from the insurance commission because Anthem said, our check writing machine won't do that.
Two-party check thing,
Yeah. But we know where the insurance commissioner lies in this issue now, anyway, so. So this confuses the patient in a lot of cases. Hey, I don't know why the insurance company sent me this $2,000 check.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
going on
gonna-
vacation.
If they read the fine print, it says you're supposed to pay this is for payment for the ambulance service that provided the service.
Yeah.
But how many people read the teeny little print on the back of the check? They just
Yeah.
rip it, cash it, and sign it.
And Comstar does send them a letter stating that they received the check from the insurance company
Right.
and that that check is to go to the fire department, the ambulance bill.
I chatted with a selectman up in Lincoln, and they have a private ambulance service.
Yep.
And he says, yeah, they bill the full amount. They get paid every time. Because they're sending them to collections. But I think one of the examples is, what happens if our ambulance crew is busy, and so we end up having Franklin come over mutual aid, and they transport one of our residents. Franklin's gonna bill the resident,
Yep.
Yes,
and they're not gonna write off the
no,
non-insurance
they're
part.
not.
Yep.
It's happened today. We had just too many ambulance runs all at once.
We had 4 at the same time.
Yeah, so I was on Church Street. I was there with Samberton. Samberton transported that patient. They're going to get a bill from Samberton. They're not going to get a bill from us.
Right.
Samberton might not be so lenient
They may
Right.
not
for
be.
payment.
Yeah.
And we do have, if somebody calls, we have a policy in place where it's later in the thing of how to, if you're unable to pay the bill, there's a process that we go through to say that, okay, we're gonna write it off, don't worry about it.
Well, I just don't think, because actually we're double dipping is what we're doing. You're charging the customer, then they're paying for this service. And what do you say, it's a transport or what? It's a service we're paying for. If we didn't want to pay for transporting, let's hire a private company.
So we
We'll
need to
pay the whole thing. We'll pay the whole thing, let the people pay the whole thing. And that way we can get rid of,
we need to figure out how to get our share of the insurance money that the
I understand.
Residents
And I,
paying
yeah,
for
you're
their
right, I
insurance.
agree with that. If the insurance company pays them.
but then to know that any additional money they pay came from them, and then we can react to that. Because I'm not sure we can have start making those kind of
No.
judgments on our behalf.
No.
They won't.
But the other scenario, I remember you telling us about, Meredith hired it out, right? They contracted with a private company. The town still had to pay the company a flat rate whether the truck rolled or not.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not cheap.
It's cheap. It was 6 figures, right? $400,000 or
Yes.
$500,000.
Yes.
Yes.
So the town
And they're-
still is paying that company, and then
And then
that
they're-
company
no,
was,
it's-
yeah. So nothing is free.
Wait, no, but we're paying for these guys to do what they're supposed to do.
And Meredith is paying the private company to
Okay,
do those.
then we would, if we didn't have,
They're not paying $3 million. But
and they probably don't have an ambulance. They don't have 2, they don't have 3.
Yeah.
We got 2 of them.
Right.
So we could get rid of both the ambulance then, if we're gonna do it that way. We're paying to have that ambulance to go to calls, to take the people in this
And
community.
we do it.
And, yes, we do.
Whether they can pay or
Yeah.
not, we're
Yeah.
gonna do it.
Is there anything in the paperwork that they get with the bill about hardship?
Yes, there is.
Yes, comes with
Yes.
the bill.
We've had somebody,
Well,
the guy hit the bike back there.
I think it's a good, healthy conversation. I'm not sure what we can do about it, other than, right now to know
Well,
that
do we
we're
have to change
constant.
this to get legal, or?
I don't know that we
Well,
have,
we
I don't
take
know that we have
off,
to.
write off resident ambulance bills.
Right, I don't know that that has to be a motion,
We need to take,
because it's,
that needs to go away.
well, I'll make it a motion. So under the procedure on the ambulance revenue receivable policy, the third bullet point that says write off resident ambulance bills not paid by insurance, that we remove that line as required by law.
Okay, so the fourth bullet, why does it even use the word resident? Shouldn't it just be the customer or patient, and they do not pay their insurance, the customer or patient will be sent to collections?
Yes, it should.
Yes, it should say,
It should
it
say.
should say patient.
Okay, so can we
So-
amend the fourth bullet?
Yep, and then
Thusly.
additionally, the fourth bullet, we should replace the word resident.
Yes, the patient, yes,
Twice.
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 And substitute the word patient. All right, I made that as a motion.
Second.
Any further discussion? I know we always need to try to figure out how to do that, and I'm not sure what the answer is.
There's no easy way.
What's gonna maybe, I'm not gonna say going to, but I may be jinxing ourselves, is when does it come across our radar when a lady that pays $1,000 and then she's watering her garden with a neighbor, and the neighbor says, you shouldn't have paid that, you're a resident, as somebody moves to the area and doesn't know that, and people will start asking for a refund or a rebate, or that could potentially rear its
And
head.
are we able to go back in and look at
You know, and
can ComStar provide?
That would be, yes, they could provide that information, but it would take, they would have to research it.
no, I mean, a resident could just walk into a meeting,
Yeah.
or approach us and say, hey, listen, I paid this and I didn't realize, and, we abate that amount back to the, Abate or rebate.
I guess in theory, we could do that, because we can,
Is there anything,
We could, I would recommend that if that happened, that you don't do it until after we research it to make sure that actually happened.
yeah,
well, right, and, because you already have the ability to write off hardship,
yeah.
Right.
so you have some flexibility.
And I've had a resident come in to pay the balance of their bill, and they're like, well, I can afford to do this, and I want to do this, and I'm going to do this.
Yeah,
So,
people are just that way.
And that's okay, I guess.
it's okay.
It's okay, isn't it?
I'm
All
not,
right, so we have a motion on the floor.
I'm just wondering if there's a way we could get legal advice to word it different. The residents, I mean, that bothers me.
Well, and it bothers me too, because I think you and I are on the same page, and I feel like Jason probably.
We're still gonna take care of our folks. I
But
mean,
this came up months ago, because you sent the
CMC.
you sent the document that noted that we can't
And I
have that in
understand,
the
yeah.
policy.
we can't play favorites.
All right, all those in favor? Aye.
I'm an aye for now, but I like Paul's idea if
No,
we,
no.
if we can get further guidance and put it back in, but if it's not legal for us to have it,
It's not, you don't want to go down that
yeah,
road.
so.
If we keep that in, we could lose our ability to collect Medicare and Medicaid payments, which is 80% of our payments.
Right,
So that would be,
and if the legislation goes up, then those payments could grow, right? Because you're talking about
Yes.
moving the minimum up.
yes.
I never not want to take care of a resident, that's our job.
Well, that's in it's a policy coming up.
Yeah, all right.
Allows you to do
All right, well,
anything you really want to do.
That, you'll bring that back to us at the next meeting?
For your signatures. Yes.
All right, capital assets policy. I didn't see anything here.
I make motion we accept capital asset policy document 10-10.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Right, where's the pandemic face mask policy?
Burn it.
I didn't do it. I didn't update it.
Okay, well, that was my question. Do we still need to have that?
I think we,
I think we can put it to bed.
Do we have to vote to do that?
Yes, probably.
So, it wasn't provided to you, but that's the pandemic face mask policy.
Move to delete.
All right, I'll second that. Any discussion?
Can I add that?
All right, motion's been made and seconded to delete the pandemic face.
Move to inactive.
Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So I'm going to inactivate this.
Okay, disaster recovery
we can
plan.
reactivate it at
That's
the next
needed.
pandemic.
Yeah.
That we never have. I'll retire first. I'll quit. I'll go and move to Florida where they don't have
When was the last update on the vaccines? Are they still cooking those out, or is that kind of
Yeah, no,
quieted
they can
down?
still get an
They're still-
updated.
I mean, they still making new ones, or are
any.
they?
Yes,
Oh,
they
okay.
update them every, I think every 6 months, the vaccine, the COVID vaccine itself gets updated.
Oh, wow.
And you can still get one. I'm not getting any more, I've had enough of them.
They're gonna incorporate it into the flu vaccine, so you're not gonna have to worry about it.
I just had to get a pneumonia vaccine.
Oh, you poor.
My name's spelled wrong.
You're right, it is. Sorry, I stuttered.
Writer.
Well,
I want to be
right.
righter than I was before.
You're only right, you're right.
I'm sorry.
Someday I'll be the rightest.
Can you bring that to the next meeting?
I will, any changes before we,
Were there any, or? Just a new deputy, right?
Mhm.
yes,
Oh.
names changed.
Yeah.
Right, sorry, Jason, I'll fix that.
Okay.
All right, incident response plan. Again, I didn't have anything on that one.
Mainstay, how long they've been around with us? I mean, we've had them for a while.
We've
but-
had them for years.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So they've been a mainstay.
yes.
I'll make a motion to accept incident response plan
It's
and
the
document.
first year I became
1014.
chief, is when we got them.
Second.
You know, I just looked at this and they all have a May 14th date on them
Oh, because of,
because
That's
that was
when
when
we
the
were gonna
next meeting
have
was
a
gonna
meeting.
be.
Oh,
So,
So we gotta void all it?
no, it's a,
No, I
you can
wouldn't.
make them all
effective.
effective May 14th.
Yeah.
okay.
All right, so you've made a
All right.
motion?
Yeah.
So we have a motion that was seconded by Jason. Any discussion? All right, no further discussion. All those in favor say aye.
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 And you're signing away.
All right, I think we have the same issue on this policy, motor vehicle insurance billing.
Let's set this aside. I want to go over this one more time.
Okay, so it's procedure, the third bullet item again says
Right.
write off resident bills.
All right, so we'll just take that off.
No, we're gonna.
No, we're gonna set it aside,
We're just gonna table, we're gonna table this one for now.
So we're not doing it tonight.
All right, the ambulance billing policy is new
Mhm.
this year.
Yes.
And the chief, you provided this, but I'm not sure, Jason, I'm not sure you received that, because it was
Doesn't ring a
a
bell.
couple months ago.
Yeah, it's 2 months ago.
So can you just,
Sure, so,
just,
we always assumed of what our billing policy was, but when I looked in all our documentation, we had no documentation of what the actual billing policy was. So I contacted Comstar and I said, do you have a copy of our billing policy? I said, no, we don't have a copy of any billing policy from you. I says, well, we're operating under all these assumptions. And as you know, I've been heavily into the ambulance legislation in the past 2 years, and it's imperative upon us to have an actual policy, not assumptions. And so I took all our assumptions and turned it into a
Document
policy,
that.
documented,
Yeah.
yes. And
Did we steal a couple other towns' policies, or?
I took several different policies
Those are nice
and
to-
combined it to use some of their ideas.
Whatever's
and then-
applicable, yeah.
Yes. And, you know, that's just normal operating procedures. What are other people doing? But also, I wanted to incorporate what our feelings and policies
Right.
regarding how we treat people who we transport and how we can go through a process to alleviate them from a bill if they don't meet the qualifications that they can't pay. And so this applies to anyone that we transport, not just residents, or not just out-of-town people. It's fair across the board, and allows the commissioners really their ability to do anything they want.
Trying to get the if not, only if not, you know.
yeah, I'm having a question on that. So if no, the third bullet under billing procedure, it says if no insurance is provided, the patient receives a payment bill and instructions on applying for a hardship write-off. Up to 3 bills 1 month apart will be sent. Then we have some options. If a hardship application is received, it is reviewed, and a determination is made. Okay, I got that. If not what?
If we didn't receive an application.
If we didn't receive an application, the bill is then sent to Tilton Northfield Fire Department for disposition.
Yeah, but above that, there's an if not, too.
If no payment or application is received, the bill is sent to Tilton Northfield for disposition. If not, I guess I'm not,
The if-nots are confusing.
well, if there's no insurance, we send them a bill.
Right,
All right, so I guess 3 things happen. One, they send in a hardship application, which is a full
Right.
first bullet. The second one would, in my mind, would be if they paid. And the third one would be if they didn't pay
right.
and no application is received. Would the bill be sent to us for disposition, or is disposition include sending it to the collection? Disposition to me means we're writing it off.
No.
No, the
It means
disposition
we
report
decide
said,
what to do with it.
yes.
We decide whether to send
Yes.
it to collection.
All right, if not, the bill is sent to for disposition. And then if no payment or application is received. I think the wording's, that's not.
If-
There's too many layers of it.
Yeah,
Because it just says at the bottom of page 1, it is reviewed and a determination is made as to whether the bill is written off or not.
right,
And then if it's not written off, the bill is sent back to us for disposition again, for collection or write-off.
right.
But we already just said if we're not gonna write it off or not. So it's like, it's double. I'm not sure that it
Just
is.
take that section out and look at if no payment or application is received,
Right.
the bill is sent
To us.
for disposition.
Okay, and I realize the one on the top of the page
Yeah.
is a sub-bullet. It's
Right.
a sub-bullet
Oh.
of the first one.
Yes.
So if a hardship application is received, it is reviewed and a determination is made as to whether the bill is written off or not. If not, so if we didn't write it
But
off,
we make the decision,
If you didn't,
so if a hardship application was received and we decided not to write it off, then the bill is sent to, is included on the disposition report. Okay, now I get it. I was looking at it wrong. It's still confusing.
it is.
I
And
think
then
that-
if no payment or application is received, it goes to the disposition report.
Again.
Is it necessary?
No. We can cut out the subset of the first bullet, because then you're saying if no payment or application is received, they send it to us for disposition, and that's when,
No, I think the second bullet there, if no payment or application is received, the bill is sent to Tilton Northfield for disposition, and it should include those three saying FFR for collection, write-off, or further evaluation.
right,
That, yeah.
Those should be the same regardless of how you got there. Does that make sense? Does that make sense to you? You're not following?
yes, I'm following.
I got lost
Yeah.
there.
So if they sent in a hardship application and we don't write off the bill for whatever reason,
Didn't make too much,
then,
they
then,
didn't prove that they
then
were.
this action will happen.
Yes,
And if we receive no payment or application, then that same action will happen.
yes.
Right, so it,
So I don't know how, I think it would be appropriate just to add that secondary bullet to.
right after the first,
After the, again, after the,
so we have, if a hardship application is received, and then go, if no payment or application is received, and then it goes into if not. Is that what
Yeah.
you're saying?
Almost like the
Flip
other.
'em.
yeah, well, now that I realize that that's a sub-bullet, not a second bullet, I would do the sub-bullet again under the second bullet. Does that make sense?
Okay, yes,
If it was all on one page, it'd be easier to see.
yes, it would.
The bullets,
So you want to
Were-
take the sub-bullets and put them under the if no payment or application is received.
I want to duplicate those
You want
sub-bullets
under-
again under
again.
the second bullet.
Okay. So I'm going to,
I get it. You want to
Because
take this
the-
group here and put them
and put it down here as well.
down here.
As well, I'm gonna copy that.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's the same path.
Right,
Yes,
all right, and then payment received, received payment, fill this in, first payment, purchase the bill for the balance amount. The balance bill, co-pays and collectibles, the balance bill for purchase, the balance bill for first payment, and there's non-balance, okay. We have to set an annual fee.
Yes, and you did, usually it's in December.
Did we do that?
Yep. This is the formula. I have a great big spreadsheet thing.
All right, so you'll bring that to the next meeting for
this
us
one with
to
the
do?
corrections, yes.
Is there any other corrections that anyone sees on that? Paul?
No, I'm okay with it.
Jason?
Yeah. Have to let that one roll.
Okay, and that it for policies?
That's it for policies.
All right, moving right along, moderator for the district. I put that on there because obviously we need a moderator.
We do need a moderator.
And I know I've asked a few people around for suggestions, and some of them are the same people you've asked.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have a name to bring forth,
We do not.
so. And I guess, you know, just,
Suggestions?
is there requirements for being a moderator?
Yeah, you have to live within the district.
And then after that, I mean, I see Kent's like book of moderator stuff, and he went to moderator
Class.
class 101 or whatever it was.
Yeah,
Um,
they have that every year for new moderators, because pretty technical.
so it's not like you can just grab anybody and hope they understand Robert's rules and stick them up there at the podium. Well, I think we all do. Paul, you know everybody in town.
Yeah, well. They kind of laugh.
I mean, we've tried prior moderators, and they have no interest.
Right. Who did the town of Tilton end up with?
Helen
Helen.
Hanks,
She agreed to do it
she
one way?
agreed to do it
She-
one
yeah,
more
she-
year.
Yeah. She bowed out. She would not agree to do it for us.
And that's, I asked her first.
I wrote her in. All right, well, that needs to continue to be on our radar.
Well, now that our meetings don't conflict with the Northfield Selectmen's meeting, we should go sit in and say, hey, gonna be moderators?
There we go.
I did,
Get them
I
up.
asked.
Yeah, we've asked.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've asked Tilton. We've asked Northfield.
I don't know. All right, well,
All right, well, let's move on. Leave that item open as we move on. Correspondence, we've got a lot, which is part of the reason for having this meeting, and thank you guys for fitting this in. You both saw the two documents, the chief forward from Westcott Law and Attorney Fitzgerald. I don't have any additional information on what happened there, but
I thought he was part owner.
yeah, he was partner.
Yeah, he was a partner, full partner.
So, I don't know if this is like semi-retirement and just go with the workload that you most comfortable with, or so I guess I'm looking for thoughts, and then as the chief pointed out, they're both willing to come in and talk to us. And maybe we should have them do that.
Yeah. I know we just hired one of the lawyers up there at basketball. She's very smart.
Who'd you hire?
I can't remember her name, but,
Shauna?
huh?
Was it Shauna?
Yeah, I think it was her.
Shauna Bentley?
Yeah.
She,
We used, I just called her the other day, we're gonna use her. We got some legal
She
stuff.
was working with Paul on our stuff.
on us.
No, it weren't her.
Weren't her?
No,
Different one?
no, I know Shauna, that's the one that was with her. No, it weren't her.
Okay.
We hired another one, she's a,
All right, well, should we ask one of them to come in for our next meeting and then maybe follow up with the other? And I guess my feeling would be, do we want to have Attorney Fitzgerald first?
You decide who you want to have
yeah, let's
first.
start, that's who we had, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
And he's willing to maintain our stuff? or-
Yes.
Yeah.
Is
So-
there anything we still have going that he kind of should stay with? I guess that's, I don't know where you guys left off with that.
the only thing we have right now is if we need a new easement or something like that. I think everything else is settled for now.
Okay.
I did let Westcott know law know that we would stay with Westcott law until the Board of Fire Commissioners made a new determination one way or the other.
Yeah. All right, let's then, I'm gonna ask the chief to see if he can schedule Attorney Fitzgerald for our next meeting. If he's not available, then to ask Westcott Law to come in for that
Do you
meeting.
want them to come at separate times?
I think, I don't know, I think we only want one, and then
Yeah, I'd do one
we'll
at a
schedule
time.
another
Yeah.
meeting for the other.
Okay.
Okay?
Now, is Paul, do you know, is he working for another?
No, he
He's
started his
all
own.
by himself.
Okay, all by himself, okay.
And it sounded like he was just gonna do government work, municipalities and such. And
No,
you
he
had
did-
said that he represents, what's
Oh,
the
he
school or?
He represents the city of Franklin. He represents Lakes Region Mutual Fire Rate, Tilton Northfield. He does a lot of that stuff. I don't know what else I know he was in the paper for 10 years about the folks on Governor's Island that didn't put up a garage without permission of the Governor's Island Club or something like that. He won that one. But I know he does a lot of municipal representation. All the other ones off the top of my head, I forget now.
Okay, so our next meeting is April 14th. And then the meeting after that is June 11th. Do you want
It's
to
already
wait?
past April 14th.
May 14th.
May 14th, sorry.
No, I would probably suggest if the commissioners are able to, we do another meeting, maybe 2 weeks after that. What is 2 weeks after that, May 14th?
Memorial Weekend.
Okay, not that day.
That would be Tuesday, the 29th is the following Wednesday. I mean, everybody has the 27th off. Well,
So what am I looking at?
most everybody.
29th.
If we
I'll
tried
be
to do
golfing.
a meeting halfway between, you're what?
I'm golfing
He's-
Wednesday, the 29th.
Okay.
I'm in my golf league now.
Well,
Is this a real barn burner issue, or?
Well, do you want to, I don't know, you want to go a month between the two?
It's fine.
Well, you know, we really don't have anything going on where we need representation, so
Yeah,
maybe we can put the other one off until
June,
the June meeting.
okay.
Is that agreeable?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, so let's try to
I'll
do
ask for
Attorney
Paul on the
Fitzgerald.
14th, and if he can't, I'll have Westcott come in on that date. And
See if Paul
Right.
can come in. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, just keeping him first option.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
so that's June 11th.
Okay, can we move on? Center Street paving.
Yes.
Did you put something in here, I saw?
I
You
did.
did.
It's at the bottom right here.
So,
So, I know the $10,000 cost was, you didn't want to spend that kind of money, but the thing is, we really need to get it graded, and when I talked to Chris Harris, he says, well, you can grade it all you want, but if you don't put anything on top of it, it's just gonna turn to crap again. He says the cheapest way would be to put some reclaimed asphalt on top of it, and he said that would maintain the grade at any rate. And I asked him for a quote on that, and that is before you.
it seems like $4,279 is much more palatable. I wanted to add to that, I was asked by Pat Constantino to come down, Pat Constantino contacted me in regards to one of the neighbors down there is concerned in the wintertime about trying to protect her stone wall there on the corner and the snow being plowed into there.
That's
And-
Sanos's property
and
across
trying-
the street from the fire station, like
And
right in front
And
of us.
apparently they put some sawhorses out there, and then now that makes it difficult for the ambulance to turn in, and the allegation that we move the sawhorses and don't put them back, and so then the next time it plows, or wall gets knocked over. And so I said, Pat, I don't even know what you're talking about, so can we meet down there? So we met down in front of the fire station, and she filled me in, and Deputy Chief Sean came out on his way out, and he joined in on the conversation, and we had a lengthy conversation about that and the parking lot. the roped off section, and the fact now that the cars on the back side of those rows in between the privately owned roped off section and the fire department get trapped in there. And the only way to get in and out of that back row is driving behind the fire station. And, you know, what the city was gonna, what the town was gonna do about that, because, you know, cars can get blocked into the back part of the parking lot and not get out. And so Sean went to the selectmen's meeting, which was 2 days
Thursday.
later,
Yep.
that same week. And Pat and I and Sean walked around the parking lot and showed, you know, that there's also some difference of opinion on where the property line is for the fire station and whether we own any of the parking spaces or whether the town just lets us use parking spaces. No clear determination came out of that. But at the selectmen's meeting, Sean provided, I don't want to say testimony, but input, and the selectmen voted to remove 4 spaces, so 2 wide, 2 deep, to make a lane to get into that back part of the parking lot, so the cars won't have to drive behind the fire station. The town's losing 4 spaces, and I think they were thinking of the 4 spaces next to the roped-in area, but I wasn't quite sure, but I think those were the 4 spaces.
I couldn't tell by the email, but I think that's what he was referring to.
Yeah, because he had pictures and
Yeah.
map, aerial map.
Yes.
So I think that helps with that problem of the cars getting trapped in the back part of the parking lot. And if they are able to get that striped, and we would have less traffic behind the fire station to help alleviate the ongoing problems back there and allow the firefighters to be able to park back there without, you know, as much traffic maybe impacting their vehicles. But I wanted to add that while we're talking about that whole parking lot situation.
So we are pretty sure that behind the fire station belongs to the fire department.
Oh,
Yes.
Yes.
So technically,
It's just a matter of how far past the building is the property line.
well, that's what I mean. Technically, if we own back there, do they have, people have the right to drive back
Well,
there?
technically, they don't.
So if you parked your car this way,
Which I think is why now the town came to the realization that, you know, they have to provide access back there. So I think it was a good move by the town.
Yeah.
Other than there already is a parking problem downtown, and
Okay.
to lose 4 more spaces obviously doesn't help, but. So I'm hoping that once they deploy that, which I don't know what the time frame is,
Yeah, that wasn't made clear.
that'll alleviate some of that traffic behind the fire station.
Good.
So while we're having this conversation about parking lots.
So you're looking for a motion to approve this?
Well, or discussion on this, I guess let's move this to the floor for discussion, in reference to this Porter paving quote, to do something more meaningful with correction of the area behind the fire station.
Right.
You know, you go back out there and look, and it's like years of putting that material down and then plowing it up against the railroad. You know, now we've created a situation where the water flows towards the building.
What's the problem and stuff, right?
So the parking lot's nice and low down along the railroad, and then you get to the building and it comes way up.
Right.
So yes, I can see where a lot of material can be moved and removed and compacted and make it easier to use the space back there.
I'm more amenable to this because there's actually some machine work involved, but there's, you know, you're gonna not just keep throwing Band-Aids on it. You're gonna-
Right, not just a dump truck load of dirt leveled out
Yeah,
and call it a day.
Because I've seen that too many times, that just worsens the problem. But this
when he
is-
says reclaimed asphalt,
It's ground,
It's,
is it, or is it something like ledge pack or something like that there? It must be.
no, ledge pack is.
Right.
ledge pack is different than.
Yeah, I know what it is.
The
Reclaimed
nice thing
is
about the
what's going on
reclaimed
with that.
asphalt is the water drains
Yeah,
through
it's
it,
really-
whereas the ledge pack is,
Yeah, if you get a lot of stone dust in the ledge pack, it kind of tightens up, And water has run off. Yeah, it becomes a impervious surface, but my whole back lot at my work, we did, when they were grinding 89, I got like 30 truckloads of it when we were at auction cars. It's pretty good stuff, and on a warm, barely sunny day, the solar benefit of it burns off the snow and ice real nice. It's almost like having regular asphalt, because you don't have, I mean, you plow a little bit, and then the sun hits it, and it picks right off. Because it's essentially, it is asphalt, it's just ground, and it does percolate. If they're gonna put reclaim in there, that's kind of good.
That's held up well.
Oh, yeah, and it's good for driving over, that's the whole point, you know?
And they compact it down too.
Yeah,
so it
yeah,
doesn't-
and that's the thing, if it's reasonably fresh, and they roll it, it's pretty tight. Yeah, you don't wanna York rake it or do it, you don't wanna touch it after that, you just kinda. Yeah, I wish there was more of it, but there's some places they don't let you do it, towns, you know,
I
are
think
kind
a
of
lot of
against
that
it.
reclaim they reuse.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's not like they stockpile.
Yeah, they take it to the asphalt plant and mix it with stuff and make regular asphalt. I mean, that's part of the benefit, but just putting it down without all the oil and everything.
What are your thoughts, Paul?
Well, I mean, the price is pretty reasonable. I mean, it's,
To get any equipment out there for that kind of money is
yeah, I
pretty
think
good.
it's reasonable, so, you know, if it was 10, 20,000, I think.
Not a, you know.
Now, $4,000 or $5,000 is not much.
Right, yeah.
And I think
we
this-
don't want to dump a ton of money back there,
Right.
as we
No,
talked about,
no.
and because we may not stay, but.
Right. All right, well, I'll make a motion to,
Yep, Chairman, I'll make a motion, yeah, you're gonna run the meeting.
okay.
I'll make a motion, we accept the Board of bid
I'll
of
second it.
4279.
I'll second it.
Okay, any further discussion? All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries.
Who signs it?
Um,
You sign
the
it?
chief can sign it.
Okay.
All right, Kathy didn't, well,
I'll tell them.
Do we have to
She's
vote-
got-
approve these minutes?
yeah.
That's at the end
That's
of
the,
the,
okay.
All right, what's next on
the
the list?
budget, revised budget.
Oh, there's actually one more thing,
Oh,
the
what is it?
abutter notification.
Oh, yes.
You sent that out to us, I don't know, last week?
I think it was the week before last. What's happening on Forest Road, way behind the fire station, like behind the Northfield DPW, they're putting a solar farm in.
Oh.
And they had notified us that they're putting a solar farm in.
So I looked at all the documentation and it looks like the actual, they're entering the property from the far end. And the property's got some slope and water and they're only using a certain portion. It's not close to the boundaries. So I don't know if it's from an abutter's point of view, there's any concern.
I looked at it, I'm not concerned at all.
As from a fire department point of view,
Well, there's different issues. I'm concerned about the location of the solar farm field, I'm not, that doesn't concern me. There are literally 100 little solar arrays on the ground throughout the fire district. They're all over the place. And the problem with solar panels is if there's a fire involved with the solar array or the structure that the solar arrays are on, even though you can disconnect them from the power grid, they're still producing power as long as they're getting any light whatsoever.
Yeah,
They can produce light from moonlight, energy from moonlight.
sure.
So when you fight those types of fires, you have to be extremely careful not to juice yourself.
and when you look at it, I suppose the only type of fire you would have would be some chemical reaction within the array itself, because it's all metal posts and,
Yeah, well, those types are, there's plenty of solar panels on roofs of houses.
right, but in this
Where
case,
that's
that's not
A
the,
real concern for us, and we changed the building code because of that, to leave us room on the edges of roofs to maneuver. You can't bring it right to the ridge of the roof and right to the edges.
stand on the roof.
Yeah, so we can stand on it.
So I don't know that there's anything that we need to do in reference to the,
It's just
other than we're
notification,
aware of it.
Yeah.
Unless you guys want to go over there and fight it.
So, How much voltage is involved? I thought it was all low voltage stuff, because it goes to batteries and an inverter or in your house.
Yeah, but for every panel has a certain voltage, then it multiplies as it goes along.
Okay.
And the direct current is nasty.
Yeah.
Are they gonna sell it back to the, or are they gonna?
I didn't ask. Usually, what the usual case is you have a solar array panel, and all of that juice really goes into the grid through a meter, and your meter goes backwards. And then when it gets nighttime, and if you're still using a lot of power, it starts spinning this way, so you get a balance bill of either a credit or a balance bill of what of
Yeah.
how much juice you used.
Because I know up on Route 3, them solar panels that are, that trailer place there,
Yep.
you can see on by the road there, that takes all them in there. I was talking to a person in there, and they said that,
Lowers their electric.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
All right, any other concerns on that? All right, building committee, we had a meeting last night, and we looked at the survey that that we all looked at last month.
Yeah.
They found a spelling mistake, and a few other things, so, and I don't know how this happened, but in the first section at the top where all the instructions are, it says if you have any questions, please contact Chief Seatar. In the original version, it also said if you're having difficulty, you can also contact Sean, and the verbiage I think helped the committee felt that helped indicate that Sean and the UNH Survey Center were the ones putting and you can contact them and then hold confidentiality. So they were asking for that verbiage to be put back in.
Okay.
I'll give you this one when we're all done. We'll make a copy. So those were two changes they want to make there. And then we think there's a spelling mistake in question 10, contaminants. And contaminants can be spelled two ways. And we think that we should ask Sean whether that's the correct spelling of the word contaminants. We're really nitpicking now.
Contaminates.
Contaminates or contaminants?
ENT instead of
I would think
It
A&T.
should
I
be
would think
contaminants.
ENT.
A&T.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not how it is here.
Oh, okay.
That's more of a verb. Contaminate.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that, and then question 12, where it says how often do you typically attend TNDF district meetings? We wanted that to say typically attend the Tilton Northfield annual district meeting.
Okay.
And then we wanted to engage Sean in a conversation about return date. There's nothing in here that indicates please respond by, but maybe they don't want that there, because then you'll sit there and go, oh, I missed it, all right. As compared to getting it a month later, just, we want to ask that question for some clarification.
Okay.
And then the zip code, if you use the Tilton zip code, Tilton Northfield zip code 03276 for residential customers, that's fine, but what about the folks out in Lockmere? No, all the
Oh.
Lockmere folks are
Right.
Tilton residents, so they have to be.
Lockmere and Winnisquam.
Yes.
Well, Lockmere is all Tilton, now Winnisquam,
It's part of Samberton, part of Belmont.
how did, is the post office able to only send it to
Tilton.
Can
Tilton
they target that way?
residents
That's a
out of
good
that zip
question.
code? So, yeah, can you leave me with a copy of that?
Yep.
And then with those changes, and they're happy with it. So I would be inclined that once we get those changes made and those questions answered, we have UNH send that out. Because we'd like it to show up.
If you're down to just typos and you feel good with the or they feel good with the content,
I mean,
you gotta let it fly and see people are gonna choose to answer what they want to answer.
Right.
And skip ones they want.
we kept asking questions, and you have to remind yourself, they do this all the time.
Yeah. get what the committee's looking for, that's fine.
The, and then for the minutes, if there's additional things for us to consider from the committee is looking for an updated charge, because the current charge they're working off of has a couple issues that they feel. One is a shovel-ready project. Well, it's never gonna be a shovel-ready project. And two, to bring before the 2024 district meeting.
That's gone by.
That's gone by.
Yeah.
So they asked us if we could revise the charge, but the thought was maybe we do that after we get the results of the survey back. They're looking for an additional member from Tilton. There's a concern about the firefighter reps who haven't been coming to the meetings, and the chief had mentioned that they're more interested in the program and floor plans and layouts and things like that, but the committee feels that they should be part of the these discussions as
Or
well.
at least to be able to answer questions.
Yeah. And then we're working on that. They had that Paul put together that chronological report of what's happened in the last year that he sent in regards to bringing that up at the district meeting, and we decided that we wanted to post that to the website. So they're going to finalize that so we can have that updated committee report posted to the website.
All right.
So if you can't strong arm them into being the moderator, you can tell they have to be.
Bargain it down to
building committee.
building committee or budget committee or.
All right, so that's the update from the building committee. Happy to answer any questions.
Actually, I think they filled the
We're all-
budget committee
We're all
spot.
set.
Dennis Manning, right?
Dennis Manning agreed, and
Now, is that a
Eric
function,
Pyra.
is something the moderator's supposed to do?
yes, it is. The moderator is supposed to appoint the budget committee, but Eric Pyra expressed interest, Dennis Manning expressed interest for the two Tilton spots, and then Charlie, whatever his name.
Broughton.
Broughton, thank you, is interested in remaining on the budget committee. So we really need a moderator so we can
Yeah.
get these things rolling. I tried to talk Catherine Dawson into it, but she said no.
Okay, so no additional questions on the building committee. Let's move on. Old business on the budget. So we all
Yes,
have a copy there.
yes.
Did you highlight the changes?
I did not print it off, the chief did, so let me look.
There's some yellow in here, so.
Okay,
If there's yellow, it's,
all right, so.
yes, there is.
Yeah, perfect. So as you remember, in our last meeting, the discussion was, the chief came up with his suggestions after meeting with members of the department, how to get the budget down to the approved amount. We're talking about the budget,
Sure.
so all your suggested changes are highlighted in yellow,
Yes.
and the amount we needed to come down was
136,000
And change.
and change.
That's what it costs.
That's
The-
what the amendment to,
I know, but that's what it costs for the raise and everything.
No,
No, I think it was more.
it was more than that. The major cost was the absorption of the four
The staff.
staff.
But, right,
I want to say the raise thing was right around 100, because that's, at the budget committee, we were kind of kicking that number around, so that wouldn't.
well, the 4 firefighters were 100, were 400.
400.
And then
Change.
the raise was, oh, right, that's right, that's what he was saying.
What was the rate, you think? The big cost for the raise?
I think it was in the 100 category, 100 to 120, I think.
So, explain your methodology for,
So I sat down with Kathy, Sean, and some of the captains, I says, we have to cut the budget by $136,000. What is the best way in your minds how we can do this and still be able to provide an effective service, and what are the priorities? And we all, no one disagreed on the priorities, which was the first priority is to maintain,
Keep the staff.
keep the staff. The second priority was to make sure that we're manned with 4 people on duty 24/7. The third priority was to keep the pay scale as approved by the budget committee. The third priority. The fourth priority was to keep as much of our training as we can. And at the same time, while looking at other areas within the operating budget where we can make adjustments, looking at where we are presently in our spending plan and what our projected spending in that area should be compared to other years and how much we spent on that lines already. And when we did all that, went through all those things, this is these are the adjustments that were made.
And the overtime line, chief, is primarily about the training. He backed out some of the training.
Yes.
Enough that they could still maintain certifications and.
Yes, so all the required trainings for certifications is still in there.
Yeah, well, that's good. That gives us a good number to look at for what, what do you need to, to do the job? What can you get away with? That's important.
So what basically, the majority of the training that was eliminated, every firefighter is allowed 48 hours of outside training. Most of that's gone.
Yeah.
So that's going to seminars, different classes at the fire academy for different things. Going to conferences, all that stuff is mostly
And normally you would have paid them for that time.
yes.
So, was the feeling that they wouldn't be doing any of that training, or would some of that training get done on their own time?
So,
or-
yes, so some guys still want to do some things, and I says, well, I can't pay you, but if you want to do it on your own time, that's entirely up to you.
Right.
I can't really, I can't stop anybody from doing something on their own time.
So that's the biggest cost savings is that overtime.
Right. If they go to a training and they're not on the payroll, are they insured?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Because
They're a member of our
they're
department.
They're still,
Still
like if they got in a
yes.
car accident or if they had some incident or.
Yeah, they're covered under the
That's
workers'
good.
comp.
All right, I mean, there's some places where if you're not getting paid, you're not. So, no, that's fine. Okay.
We're supporting their training, we're just not paying them to go.
Okay.
There are other trainings that I require people to take.
Yeah.
For like supervisor training and things like that.
Yeah.
For people who want to be supervisors, I don't want to put people, as much as we train them in-house,
Yeah.
they still need outside training to get all the proper legal ways of how to
Yeah.
treat employees and
CPS
things
and
like that.
CPM and all those programs and,
And that's important.
right.
And that's important to our succession plan.
Yeah.
But most of that's going to be put on hold this year because of the budget cuts.
But they're getting a good pay bump, so it's
Yes.
a give and take thing. that,
Yeah, I mean, it was an ambitious budget,
Mhm.
for sure. But given what we came up with as priorities, I think we met the goals of the priorities, and we're still going to be able to function and provide an excellent service to the residents and visitors of this community. I think most people, and I talked to a lot of fire chiefs and firefighters in the area, and a lot of people think that we've done a really good ship here. And that's a credit to the commissioners and the members of the fire department are doing a great job.
Yeah.
Dry hydrants and cisterns, is that money for maintenance or is that money for minor repairs?
It's, dry hydrants and cisterns it's for, we usually do inspections with it, minor repairs, things like that. But if we come across something that we need to repair or something like that, I was thinking that maybe we could take, if we had to do it, and we didn't have money elsewhere in the budget, we could take it out of the other, for new hydrants and cisterns. And that'd be a discussion I would have with the commissioners if and when that subject arose.
Well, I would expect that we would obviously repair dry hydrants and cisterns.
Well, like,
because
we got
wanna
one
have them
today
all
that's out of service because it's full of fish.
full of fish.
Full of fish.
Wow.
Get a picture of the last thing.
So what do you do about that?
We have to flush it out, but they come right back in because I guess this is spawning season or something.
Well,
Yeah.
They clog the nozzles. Do they get in, grow, and they can't get back out? The little box at the bottom?
We pressurize the line, so instead of sucking water in, we push water out the other way. And,
Try to remove all the debris.
yes, which we do normally anytime anyways, but as soon as we stop pushing water out,
They're coming back.
they come right back in because that's where their nest is or
Yeah,
whatever.
It's home now, right?
Yeah,
Wow.
so it's like, so we gotta wait for this to kind of pass and that'll pass. But
now, is there like screening after you pull it
yes,
out?
there's
different type of screen,
there is
right?
a screen or a sieve
Yeah.
at the end of it. But sometimes those get damaged. Boats,
Yeah.
so the one we're talking about is at the boat ramp.
Oh, gotcha.
And
Yeah.
people hit it. So
Boat ramp.
the one off of Shaker Road.
Oh,
Right off of
AFC,
one, right
yeah,
off of
yeah,
140.
yeah. Yeah. Seems to be another question.
There we go. Great big car.
Wow.
The replacement of the 2 doors and windows at Park Street,
We're gonna put off a year.
that'll be okay.
I mean, we'll look and see how the budget's going as the year goes. Maybe some of the stuff can be slid back in near the end of the year. I don't know. I mean, one of the things we really wanted to get done this year was the access control system at Park Street. Because everybody that's left us
Yeah, right.
still can get in. We change it every once in a while, but it's a pain in the neck to do.
And there's only 3 different number combinations,
Yeah,
there's 3
it's-
numbers, so.
It's 3 numbers, so it doesn't, even if you don't know it, you can
You'll figure it out.
You can figure it
Yes.
out.
Spend a little time.
I give you 10 minutes and anybody can.
There's no
break in.
cameras over them.
No.
No cameras, no access control. So when I look at all the projects, that's my first priority. I think if I could slide one back in, is to get the access control put in there, but
Do we have internet access over there?
yes.
Yeah, I think that would be important.
So, like I say, near the end of the year, if we can do it, we'll get it done. But
Now, why wouldn't windows and doors wouldn't that be able to come from the radio fund? Because it's building repairs?
it could.
Yeah. Because I know you were talking about doing paving out of that.
Yep.
Okay.
And I think there's somewhere near 30,000 in there right now. Well, as soon as they make the deposit.
Right.
Yeah.
We've given them the money, whether they,
No, we haven't,
oh, we
haven't sent the check yet.
Oh, I saw it.
It had to come and be approved
Okay.
before it could go, because
All right, so it's going there very shortly.
Yeah.
guess,
That's the tower money?
Yes.
I mean, yeah.
I guess, Paul, I don't know if you have any input. I think security over at that station ought to be a higher priority. And whether that's changing out the door lock system so we can better police who comes through the door now, and/or adding some cameras so we can see who's coming and going.
I thought we did that last year.
No, that was at Center Street.
Oh, you mean Park Street?
Park
Okay,
Street.
one
Park
time.
Street.
Okay.
You know, we
I
got
didn't-
millions of dollars worth of equipment in there, and no one knows who's coming and going.
I didn't get a quote for cameras, I just got a quote for access control locks, you know. so-
I would do the locks for, I mean,
Yes.
I'd do the locks.
At least get that.
Well, I think we should ask the chief to give us a sense of what that would all cost.
I have a quote from A&B Lock, I can put it out. a bit.
Is that who did Center Street?
Yes.
Yeah.
So whatever system we get, we need to
It's gotta match, yeah.
match the system,
Yeah.
so that,
Everybody's badged the same, and, yeah.
yeah.
All right, can you can give us information on that?
Yep.
All right, any other discussion on the budget here, concerns, changes?
And if you looked at last month's operating budget through the calendar year and fiscal year, the percentage is, they're right on, they're not really far off from each other, they're within,
Right.
you know, a decimal point of percentages difference, so.
Well, because I think it's a shame that we have to give up training when that's one of the items when you talk to a firefighter, one of the attractive things about Tilton Northfield is the high level of training that we encourage and provide.
Well, it's okay to, I think sometimes to have a bye year too.
Yep,
I mean,
yep.
we were highly trained.
Yep.
And even if they don't train, they're still highly trained. You can still have several
Right.
paramedics. I mean,
There's, we're pretty loaded. But, you know, if it's the optional things and the staff still wants to, if they value it and they want to do it on their own time, I mean, that's good too. I mean, it's just kind of a pass-through year.
Yeah. All right, any other discussion on the budget?
Okay with it.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
You're very welcome.
All right, I put Samberton Road, the agreement that we received from the town of Tilton, this was requested by the building committee to, we're spending money having designs made up, and we don't really, we had a verbal agreement with the town that they would make that property available to us. And so they provided us with a document that they titled a agreement in principle, which I don't know if you've seen that or not. And I think my first reaction was a knee-jerk reaction, going, well, this isn't very clear.
Very vague. I'm not gonna sign it, period.
But then when I went out and did some research, and you come up with a memorandum of understanding or whatever, it's this type of document. So this isn't a contract. We're not agreeing to, purchasing land or swapping the land or giving them Center Street, or all this document is saying that we're agreeing in principle that the town would enter into a contract with us for that property in exchange for Center Street. It's not saying that they are, it's not saying, that it requires any of this stuff, but it's just outlining that they would enter into agreement.
And it does put in the caveat of you know, deferring to town meeting and district meeting.
Right.
You know, that we would roll it up to the voting bodies.
So in retrospect and looking over that and talking to people, as a member of the building committee, I think that's exactly what I would give the building committee to say, yes, here, the town is in agreement, and they put it in writing that they're willing to enter into a purchase and sale contract with us if we choose to do that. It's not saying that we will. It's not saying what the terms of the purchase and sales agreement will be. It's just outlining that we've discussed property, trade agreement.
We're seeking a meeting of the minds.
Right.
It doesn't say there is one, but it's an approach. I mean,
So I, other than I'd like to fill in a couple of the blanks there, I don't have a problem with that document.
I don't want to sign something and get locked. And I know it's very vague, and it does not say that.
Right.
But there again, I don't know, when you sign something, you made some type of an agreement with them.
Well, I think it does a couple things for the fire district. It then states, you're then, I don't want to use the word tying the hands of the town, but it prevents them, I look at that as preventing them from doing something else with that property in the meantime. And therefore, we go through all this trouble and they've decided to.
Let me ask you another question here. What if for some reason we sign this and we decide we want to back out because they're going to, you know, the problem being is, it started way back. We've every time we do something, we keep changing and changing.
Yeah.
And it's got to the point, I mean, like this survey, we were all set. The committee, the commissioners approved the board to go forward down there. Then all of a sudden we got thrown this survey in.
Right.
And what's going to happen after that? If the survey comes back, they decide that's the place, what's going to happen? Well, God, you guys signed this here. What are we going to do there? Maybe we'd keep the place. Maybe we'd sell it.
Yeah, and none of that is in that document.
I understand.
All that document is saying is
I understand. I read it. I read it 3 or 4 times.
They're willing to enter a purchase and sales agreement.
They're willing to do that. Well, I'm not willing to do it.
Well, it's not saying that we are.
Then okay, if we don't have to do anything, then why sign it?
So that we can get the town of Tilton to sign it.
They made an agreement with us. And if, there again, why don't we write up something of our own and have them sign it?
Well, that's what I was going to do. And when I went out and talked to some people, and I went out in line and looked, that was the document it told me to create.
Essentially, yeah.
It was only called Memorandum of Understanding instead of Agreement in Principle.
Yeah.
So then I spent a whole bunch of time on what's the difference between the two, and
It's not a contract, because the
No,
contract
it's
would
not a
have what you're
con-
buying,
I
where you're
understand
buying
that.
it. Yeah, I mean, there's
Right.
no,
yeah, there's no terms in
Yeah.
there. It's just,
I'm, like I said, you guys can sign it. I'm not going to put my name on it. You know, we made an agreement with them. We sit down and we agreed with them. If that's not good enough, we have to sign this here, then.
well, I think this is more to appease the building committee questioning, we're spending all this money having designs made for that property, and we don't have anything documented.
Well, you're not even sure this is going to go this way until we get that survey done.
Well,
Or whether the people vote this way.
yeah, I think it's voted this.
So, I mean,
Right.
to me, it's.
To you, it's not worth signing.
Like, you guys can go ahead and sign it, but my name is not going to be on it.
it's funny, I get feedback from some of the residents and voters and even at candidates forum to the extent of, why can't we have choices? Why can't we all choose between, you know?
Right.
A lot of folks, I don't want to say, but there's been a current of folks that I don't like when they bring us the one thing, and I think that's the best thing, because we've had how many of those things, right?
Right.
It's tough. I mean, I went through it being on the committee with the police department building, We had to come up with a design that met the needs, not wants, but met the needs. And then, okay, this, no matter where we go, it will fit here, it will fit here. We had a 2-floor prototype where we took the thing and ripped it in half and it could stack when we were looking at Business Park Drive. And the building never changed because you still need a place for booking, you need a place for this, you need a place for evidence, you need bathrooms. And the building itself never changed. It was just, okay, there's a single floor one, there's a 2-floor one. Same square footage. It can go here, it can go there, it can go there. And I think we've seen so many different designs for a fire station, and that's tough. It's like we gotta get buy-in, but we gotta get people to agree on a concept. All they want to agree on is a price tag. Right. But they gotta understand this is what it costs to do the basics, and that's how we sold it.
To your point,
That's how we sold
I
it.
think all of the designs of any of the fire stations all really comprise the same stuff.
It's a garage and a bunkhouse, right,
Yeah.
and an office.
Yeah.
You need a place to live, you need a place to work, you need a place for the trucks.
I think the feeling is that they all keep getting voted down because of the price.
Yeah. Oh, well, this one has roll-up doors in the front. Well, this one has roll-up doors in the front and the back. And then people, why can't they back the truck in? Why do they have to have doors on both sides and drive into the building and out the
Well,
building?
right, and I think
Any firefighter worth of salt should be able to back the truck into the building. You don't need 2 sets of doors. We've heard all the arguments, right?
Right.
And,
Well, and the secondary argument always seems to be, everybody talks about price, but under that is, well, I don't want, the Tilton voters aren't gonna approve a station over Northfield, and the Northfield voters aren't gonna approve a station over in Tilton.
Yeah, and
Why can't we have two?
And I live at the end of the town, and all the options have been further away from my house than Center Street, right?
Right.
So it's like, hey, listen, you got to fish for the fish out, wherever the calls are, wherever the activity is.
Right.
That's what the station needs. But people don't think that way. Well, I live in this town, I want it here. Well, I live in that town, I want it here. It's really about, my insurance bill is probably impacted more about having a hydrant near my house than it is of then having a fire station. And folks don't understand that either. So it's getting that buy-in.
Right.
So I don't know, how do you got to be able to sell the product, and people talk about price. It was cheaper last year, and it was cheaper 5 years ago, and it was cheaper 10 years ago. We're going to keep kicking the can down the road. It's never going to be cheaper than you will today. And they never get that, so they don't vote it that way. I got that thing over by the Valvoline. I thought that was almost a great deal, If the developer could have been a little more relaxed on who had to pay for the infrastructure, I think that would have sailed through. And then somebody gets up and talks about railroad tracks. Well, look how many railroad tracks get crossed down here. And I forget there's railroad tracks here. No big deal about the Valvoline ones. Have you been in Tilton? You leave Center Street, you're going to cross railroad tracks to get there, and you're going to cross railroad tracks to get there.
All right, well, I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, no,
All right, next item on the agenda is the .gov migration.
Sure, so this is the contract that they sent us. This contract has been reviewed by both Primax and our attorney, and it's been approved as presented. And I think on Thursday we have a kickoff meeting with the
We do.
.gov people to start the migration.
I guess I don't understand what all this documentation is for.
It's
You go
basic-
online, you register a domain name, and I
And
know.
which I've already done. I've gone online. I don't know if we've gotten the domain yet, because it takes 30 days. And the domain that I chose was tnfd.gov.
Right.
And if that's unavailable, then my next choice would be tnfd.nh.gov,
yeah.
which we'll probably get. But I wanted to keep it as close to where we have it as do now, and still keep what we have, because I don't want anybody else to grab it.
Yeah.
Like, was it GoDaddy or whatever it is that we got it
Yes.
from?
Yes.
So, I know.
Well,
every
and you
was it
keep-
every 5 years we got to re-up it, or every 10 years or something like that?
Something like
And
that.
you can keep
yeah.
those and have it point to.
Yes.
Yes.
The mirror room or whatever they call it.
So we're not actually physically moving our website to a different provider.
No,
All we're doing is picking the new name here
We're-
and having everything redirected.
we're
to
going from a
.gov.
.org
to a
to a
.gov,
.gov.
which is more secure,
Yeah.
and the organizations that can get .gov have to comply with certain .gov standards, which we do,
Yeah,
to make sure that we're less able to be infiltrated. I mean, we're using Mainstay as our IT consultant, and everything that they recommend that we do to keep us safe, we do.
yeah.
Primex, we consult with Primex. They're involved in this. They want us to do this.
Yeah.
And everything that they tell us to do internet-wise, we do.
Yeah.
We don't want to be held for ransom, because Franklin was held for ransom, Salem's been held for ransom. There's a number of municipalities in New Hampshire that have already been held for ransom,
Wow.
and they pay it because you don't have anything
So
if you
what,
get it.
so is this document just then providing them with, it looks like providing them with a bunch of information?
Yes, it's providing them with the information and saying, yes, go ahead with doing it. There's a grant in place that, for us to do this, so it doesn't cost us anything, even down to printing new business cards.
Right.
So it doesn't cost us a thing, and we are a great beneficiary of a much secure system.
So what do we as commissioners need to do?
Authorize me to sign the contract.
So moved.
Gotta vote on it.
Okay, so it's been moved and seconded to authorize the chief to sign the contract for the .org,
.gov.
.gov switch over. Any further questions or discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, new business budget committee,
We did that already.
we sort of talked about that already.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any other discussion on that.
No.
Okay, next would be reviewing the minutes of the
April 2nd.
April 2nd meeting.
I gave you copies of the minutes.
I see that, I think I already had a copy, but I usually review and write notes on them.
Okay.
If there's any notes to be written on.
So if you have a spare, I think one of them, because I think I found a typo.
Yeah, I don't have any issues with the minutes. Oh, wait.
I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes. We had a correction on it?
No, it's all right to make a motion.
You can make a motion.
I'll make a motion, we accept the minutes for 4/2/24, public meeting minutes, I'm sorry.
Second.
I'm not finding it.
It's just another remembering to do things, it wasn't actual changes.
Municipal is spelled wrong, but it's okay.
What is there?
Middle of page 2. Made a motion, let's pick up on Munich bid.
Municipal. Ah, yes. Should have an I in there. Another
I
I.
have a customer who comes to my auctions and he calls it Muncie bid. For some reason, he just misses, he just doesn't see that first I. Muncie bid,
Yep, okay, so that's corrected. I will be.
I read this on my
All right.
phone, but I don't think I have problems with it.
All right, any other discussion, corrections on the minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, do we have non-public minutes to approve?
You do. Hey, gonna pass it down, please?
Um, The agenda's got the date wrong, but that's okay.
Oh, it does?
Yeah. So,
Oh, yeah.
Hit the key a little bit too much. Stuttered there.
okay, the minutes of the non-public session of April 2nd have been handed out. Is there a motion to accept?
I'll make a motion, we accept the non-public minutes for 4/22/24.
Second.
right, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, any other business? I know we have to review the manifest list there.
And this,
No disposition reports.
disposition reports,
There is.
yes.
You have to go into non-public for that.
Like, we already did one this month, didn't we?
That was that was for, the ones for tonight are for
The May meeting?
March.
Oh,
And the ones that you did at the beginning of the month were February's.
all right.
All right, do we want to review the manifest? Give me a section. Anything in here I should be
You
aware
already did
of?
this, didn't you?
I did mine.
No, just lots of
Not
money.
really, just-
Transfer Tilton Northfield Fire Department.
That was, I was on vacation and a check came in from the state of New Hampshire. Part of it was from the grant, part of it was for an ambulance transport. So it was all deposited in the operating account and I transferred the ambulance billing to the ambulance fund.
Capital Fire Protection.
Yep.
$1,700. What was that?
What was-
Capital Fire Protection.
Capital Fire, that's pipe for dry hydrants.
Yes.
Okay. For LHS Associates. LHS
Oh,
Associates.
that was the ballots for district meeting, for the elections.
This 130,000, that's everything that we voted to
That's all of, yes,
move into the trust funds?
yes. And if you look at it, it's all spelled
It's
out.
itemized how much goes
It's
into.
itemized on a bill, and then the minutes are with it, and I highlighted the ones.
When did they meet again, do you know?
I don't know.
That's a mystery to us.
We'll send the check off, and it could sit there for 2 or 3 months.
Skechers.
Chief's uniform allowance.
See these? I had sketches before and they lasted me about 3 years.
I do find them very comfortable.
Well, I have an extra wide foot, so I have to be particular what I can
Yeah,
get.
it's comfortable. Where did we get a new sink at?
No, the
It's-
faucet.
It's the faucet for the slop sink in the
Flat
meeting
screen.
room. When you shut it off, it would go right by, so it was dripping constantly.
And the breaker valve is messed up, so. It had seen better days.
It had to be replaced.
Is there only one signature on this one? If it was paper clipped together?
Yes,
Paul, do you want to correct your date that you put with your signature on
I
there?
didn't put the right date.
Today's the 23rd.
Oh, 20 years behind.
Oh, yeah.
it's 24.
I was trying to make myself look younger. Glad you caught that. I didn't think you would.
Plow carts.
Oh,
Oh,
that's, so when you drop the plow,
Yeah.
instead of laying on the ground.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's on a cart that you
Cradle,
can
yeah.
push. right now it's.
Move it out of the way.
Yep.
So do we still use that pickup at all, or no?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, even though it's been decommissioned, or?
It's just been de-signed.
It's
Designed,
de-signed, it has no
okay.
signage on it.
Still radio and lights?
Still has all the other
Okay.
stuff in it.
Is there any update on the rescue truck?
The rescue truck, yeah, so I have a very strong proposal from Texas, but it might be 3 months out before they really give me a strong proposal, because they have a process that they have to go through.
Been here for a number of years, another couple months ain't gonna hurt.
I have other people that are looking a year out, if it's still available, they want it. So I said, well, first
Oh,
one,
because they don't have the money for it?
yeah, so they have to go through their process.
Yeah.
It's like, if we want to buy something, we have a process.
Towing, who got towed?
Engine 2,
Yes. Copeland Road, mud season.
Oh, not broken, just.
Not broken.
Recovery, stuck.
slid off the side in a blizzard.
The rest of
You got the year right on that one, Paul.
I did.
Yep.
I was just trying to see if you catch it.
Power Stream Technology. Each vehicle. Is that, like annual?
What was the name of it?
Power Stream Technology.
it was like 4 different.
Oh,
regular-
that's the, is that the wiring,
No.
no?
No.
So 2 ambulances.
2 inches.
Yes.
Oh, yes, that's what it is.
That's for the wiring.
Yeah. Oh, those the,
Yeah,
Yeah, you told me about-
UPSs,
Yeah.
they told me.
vehicles,
Yeah.
the UPSs. Because the cradle points, what happens is that they're powered on 24/7
Yeah.
to maintain a network. When you go to start the truck up or the ambulance,
Cuts it, right?
it lowers the voltage in the cradle point for like a second,
Yeah.
and then the voltage comes back up and spikes, and the cradle point says, "What the hell is that?
Yeah,
I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to stay on, but I'm not going to do anything."
right.
So you have to get a UPS in the
As
middle
a
of
power
those.
conditioner.
Yeah, so it's always getting
Yeah.
a pure 12 volts and not sending it into seizures.
Yeah.
that's what it was. Which one is that? Is that a repayment? Is that for the deputy?
Walnut chicken.
Oh,
Yes. Spouses were invited to that meeting as well, so he paid for 2 on his personal credit card and requested reimbursement.
Where did I see him? It's funny.
Walnut.
Chicken.
Oh, thank you. So if you don't want to do the disposition reports tonight, you don't have to, you can do them at your next meeting. It's up to you.
Well, since we've run over.
I kind of need to get going.
All right. And I say we table the disposition reports until our next meeting, is that okay?
Sounds good.
Yep.
Thanks.
All right, any other business?
Yep.
All right, well, before we adjourn, I just want to thank Kathy and the chief for being available to put in this extra meeting. Appreciate it. And thank you guys for being able to attend. Entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
8. Almost 8 o'clock.
7:55.
7:55.
Which button, Kath?
Off. Top left.
Do a nice zoom in on Paul and then fade to black as we roll the credits.